The dashboard tab of the AC9 software is set up to be much like the dashboard of a car. There are several gauges, and each one gives the user a vital statistic about how business operations are going, much like a car gauge does for how the systems of a car are performing. Each gauge is driven by either the actual work done by the users within the software or bookkeeping entries made in the Financials tab. The purpose of these gauges is to give users and business owners a way to quickly glance at the dashboard and be able to get an accurate handle on the most important facets of an advisory business. Notice that within each gauge, there is both a blue and an orange needle. The orange needle is set within each gauge based on the expectations or goals of the business. For example, if the average annual earnings of an advisory firm are $250,000, that might be used as the orange needle in the profit and loss gauge as a performance bar. The blue needle represents actual results. In each gauge, the blue needle will be a real-time representation of where the firm is currently at in regards to the gauge being looked at. A user can quickly compare that to where it should be based on the orange needle. In this fashion, all of the gauges will provide that comparison between actual results and the benchmarks the business sets for itself. Total revenue, total expense, and profit and loss are all driven by bookkeeping entries in the financials section. Marketing expense and revenue earned are also driven through the financials tab in the bookkeeping. Leads generated is driven by the number of new contacts classified as leads input into the system. Likewise, calls made is driven by total calls made to these new leads. Every time a user makes a call and actually gets to talk to a prospect or a lead, those calls are logged in the database and will be reflected in contacts made. First appointment set and first appointment showed will all be driven by the actions taken by the users working through the action sequences of turning those leads into clients. As long as each user simply follows their action sequences and does not neglect any of the steps throughout converting a prospect to a client, all of these gauges will be accurate and insightful. Lastly, the open opportunity, in-progress business, and closed-won business gauges will track the opportunities created each month, and like some of the other smaller gauges, will be driven by the action sequences and team members completing tasks such as adding those new opportunities into the database. One final point of importance is that all of the gauges are set on a monthly basis. Although the gauges rely on the information provided via the annual pro forma numbers, each gauge will automatically interpret and display those pro forma numbers monthly. The blue needle will reset every month to 0 on each gauge, while the orange needle will be set to a monthly representation of what the annual pro forma numbers are.